Hello everybody and welcome to another Mail Art Monday video. In today's video I am going to be decorating 4 different envelopes using supplies that I got last month from my monthly P.O. box contest thing. So basically I leave my address down below and there's an ongoing internationally opened, open to everybody contest basically. So if you have some time and you want to take some time for yourself and create something pretty and something that brings you joy doing something that you love and you need someone to send it to, there's always an address down below for you to send it to. And if you do send something in, you get entered into a monthly giveaway that I do. And basically you just get something sent back from me. So every month I create something and I send it back to one lucky winner. And basically it's just an excuse and an outlet for you to take time for yourself and to make something pretty and then be able to actually send it off to someone. And it's just a great way to take some time for yourself. So it's not a beauty contest. It's not about the content that you send. I mean, it's just not about that. It's just about taking time for yourself and then being able to enter into a monthly ongoing continuous giveaway if you want. So you can enter as many times as you want. You can do whatever you want. It's completely open. But the whole point is to just take some time for yourself and to do something that you love, which is what I'm doing right now. Basically, I film this, but I do it because I love it. I love creating pretty mail and I love being able to send it off to someone who I know will appreciate it and it will bring joy to them. So that's the whole idea behind this. So as I had said in my last video, if you did not watch it, it was my journal with me video. I am going to be answering questions that I have recently received in from a contest or giveaway that I did. And ironically enough, the question that I stopped on happened to be about mail. So I'm going to answer these questions. And this is from Desiree. And she was wanting to get some more information about the general rules on pen paling from the US and just stuff like that. So basically, I have never had an issue with making pretty mail, decorating it like this, and then mailing it off. I've never had an issue with that. I put my postage stamps on the appropriate amount based on the weight. Usually I never go over an ounce, but if you do go over an ounce, you have to add a little bit more postage, and depending on where you're sending it, if you're sending it internationally, you need to use enough postage to cover that. Every letter is a little bit different, and so sometimes, like I said, if I don't go over an ounce, I can get away with just using a single forever postage stamp, and if I send internationally, I can get away with just using a single international postage stamp, but sometimes I like to use a bunch and make it pretty and just make up the cost difference. So you just need to kind of look at what you're sending, how much it weighs, and the price of that. So you can, once you start sending a lot of mail, you can kind of get used to it, but having a postal scale is never a bad idea. Another question was how I got into sending letters and how to introduce yourself to new pen pals. So actually, my crafting world began when I had my first child and I started a baby scrapbook for him, and then sort of morphed into Project Life and actually got my first 3 pen pals in a Project Life swap group that was created. And I actually still write to those ladies today, 7 years later, and it's amazing. We're still really good friends. One of them is actually pretty popular on Instagram now. You probably know her, Make Memories Today. Her name is Mikayla, and she is the sweetest girl ever. And she was actually my very first pen pal ever. And it's just incredible to me how we grow over time. And that's basically how it started. Once I got out of the Project Life realm and more into mail art and journaling and all that stuff, I just started posting the things that I was creating on Instagram just as for fun, just as an outlet, just to share and to inspire somebody else. And it sort of just morphed into what I'm doing today, and just making and sharing and making and sharing and making and sharing. And all of my pen pals at this point that I have, either I have met in person and we have just become, we have an enthusiasm for mail, and so we continue to write through the mail. But I would say probably 80% of them I met on Instagram, They were interested in the time at becoming pen pals based on what I was sharing, and that's how I got to where I am now, sending mail to over 50 people regularly around the world, and it's amazing. I love it. It brings me so much joy, and yeah, basically making and sharing is how I got started. And how to introduce yourself to new pen pals, for me, it's pretty simple. I basically give a super quick synopsis of who I am. I'm a mom. I have 4 kids. I'm however old I am. I'm 32 now, but whenever I'm writing the letter, I share how old I am, when my birthday is, that I've been married to the love of my life for 14 years, and kind of start at the beginning of our relationship and sort of move on into where I am. It doesn't have to be a long letter. I give cliff notes. I met my husband. 3 months later, we were married. He was in the Marine Corps. I followed him across the country. We started having our children. We bought our first house. We now live in Florida. We both hate living in Florida, but we live here because my husband does what he loves and I enjoy what I do, and our kids are happy and we're close to family, blah, 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 blah. Start talking about my interests. I love journaling. I love mail art. I love the act of writing and telling stories and memory keeping and all of those things. It's so easy to just get lost in your own story, and I love that. You know, the first couple letters are my favorite, honestly, because that's when you're getting to know the person. You can be intimate and you can be as vague as you want. If you want to just be someone who sends quick hellos, this is what I'm doing in my garden, this is what we did this weekend, we're planning a trip to wherever, I'll send you a postcard when I get there. You know, it can be as in-depth and personal, but as superficial and simple as you like. It's completely up to your comfort level. I tend to be an oversharer. If you've been here for a while, you probably know that. But I have no problem sharing. And so writing those, you know, really in-depth personal letters are special to me. They're fun. But I also really just enjoy simple hellos. How are you? I'm thinking of you. I hope you're well. I hope you and your family are well. This is what I did in the garden this week, or this is what I found at the antique shop this week. You know, like I love all levels of communication. So it's really just up to you, what you are comfortable with and what you like and what you want, and all of those things. So I think one of the other questions that I got was that they would love to see more videos of what my pen pals sent me. I think I've done a pretty good depiction in this video of showing you some of the things that I have gotten in the mail. Everything I'm using I got in the mail. Like, the envelopes are mine and that's it. All the supplies that I'm using, the washi tape, the ephemera, the paper, everything else came from them. Obviously the glue and the scissors are mine, but everything else in this video, like, I even struggled at the end trying to figure out how I was going to write, like, where I was going to use the address. Right here, actually. I didn't realize how far into this video I was. And so I actually sacrificed one of these beautiful labels so I have a spot to use the address. So that's how I use some of the supplies that I have. Question is how to collect great ephemera for journals without spending much money. And then another one, where do you find these papers? Do you go to antique stores or get them online? All of the above. I go to antique malls. I shop online on Etsy, YouTube, Instagram. There are a couple of Instagram sellers that I sometimes purchase from if it's a good enough deal. Sometimes Instagram can get a little bit expensive because I'm super cheap, but it's all about your location. Really, if you go to a flea market or an antique shop or an antique mall, you would be so surprised what you can find. I go to some of the dingiest, unassuming, really not great looking on the outside places, and I have come out with some paper treasures for super cheap, because sometimes people are just cleaning out their grandma's attics or basements and they don't really know what they have, but they want to try to make money off of it and they don't know what to do with it, and so they're basically just giving it away. Go to all of those places that are unassuming. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. What was the other question? How do you do it without spending a whole lot of money? Well, you just set a budget for yourself. If the cheaper, the better for me. Sometimes I do the math and I figure out how much a single item might cost if I buy a bunch of things at one time. I do the math and I kind of ask myself, is this one piece of ephemera worth 25 cents? Like, is that worth it for me, or is that too much? And sometimes, like, I go down the rabbit hole that way, but that's just because I'm ultra picky. But it's about your budget, it's about what you want to spend, and it's about what you find and what you love. So I think all of those questions are really great. I was really happy to answer them. A lot of what I get in the mail too also comes from people like you, my pen pals, and people that send things to my post office box. So being able to use them right away always makes me super happy, and I'm super happy for all of these things, and so thankful and grateful that you guys want to share and create. And I really loved this video because all of these things came from my viewers, and people that participated in sending something to my post office box, which brings me so much joy I can't even tell you. So that is going to be it. I hope I did a good enough job answering some of those questions that you guys are curious about. If you have any more, always feel free to leave them down below. But that's going to be it for me. Thanks so much for hanging out. Bye!